Okay, how you doing? So, I'm going to quickly show you. Okay, I've got this. It's my reference picture. I'm going to debate whether or not I should put these with the set because there'll be more than enough references to go around. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the foot, and I'm going to start making changes straight away to the foot as well, just to kind of annoy anyone who's watching the set and thinking it'll be nice and easy. Now, first thing we need to do is start with the toe. That's always where you start with. So I am going to just drag out a box, and I'm not going to make any pretense of measuring it or anything like that. I am going to go for the yeah, that looks about right method. Okay, so if that looks just about right to you, sort of, you're not sure, then great. Now I'm just going to zero its position. No specific reason to, it's just I'm used to doing it from working in Unreal Engine apart from anything. And then I'm going to convert it to an editable polygon and hit F4 so I can see all my edges. Okay, and I am ready to go. Now, if what I've just done there confuses you, then go to 3D Palace and watch the basics of 3ds Max set. Okay, because I'm not going to be cracking on at a fair old pace. It isn't going to be like watching a time lapse, but at the same time it isn't going to be 100% slow either. Right, now I need to go to here and just find the tools I'm looking for. Here we are, Swift Loop. Okay, so I'm going to make a loop at the bottom, just here. Then a second one just about here as well. Okay, and come around my foot, because that's what this is, and grab this part, and making sure I haven't got snap turned on, so just press S if you think it is. See, no snap, snap, see, makes a mess. So turn my snap off. Okay, I'm just moving that up on 2 axes, like so. Okay, so we get this kind of shape here. And now I'm going to bring this down the front as well, like that. Okay, and I have just about enough to get started on. Now, I'm going to bring this out at the sides and the front. Now, what I can do is extrude all 3 surfaces simultaneously. So if I just press this and then change this to local normal, you'll see they come out. But they're not exactly straight. If we look on the top view, you can see they kind of come out at the sides. Now we can fix that manually, or we can just extrude these out here and then do the front one from that. It's up to you how you want to do it. I am going to just fix these manually. So click tick, 10's enough for me, to be honest, more than enough. And I'm going to grab this and this. By the way, my chairs are really creaky, okay, so I do apologise. At some point whilst making this, I will probably try and get enough cash to get myself a new chair, so we'll just have to see. Right, so with that done, I'm now going to grab these 3. That will allow me to scale them in like that, okay? And then at the front, rather than scale out, I'll just use the move tool. And the reason I did that is because by doing that, it will be completely equal. Okay, the scaling I did at the sides. Okay, just adjust that a little bit. Alright, now I need to start looking into making some additional shapes and also elongating this because it's not quite long enough. So I'm just going to grab that. Now it's long enough. See, that was easy. And then I'm going to get my edge select, just go straight down the middle, hit connect like that. And I'm going to widen this. So if I just press chamfer, okay, I can just widen it to round about there, like that. Now, don't be afraid of your polygon counts. We're going to make a lot of them. Just thought I'd warn you about that. Now I'm going to put some swift looping in here. So there's going to be one here, and then one just a little bit lower, say about, actually that's a bit too low anyway, so one here, and then one here. Okay, there we go. Now what I can do, remember we've done this before, so it should come all natural like to you. I'm going to select these and this one here and just use my scale tool just to scale this a bit wider. Okay, like that. Now what I can do is I can take some parts out of this. So I'm going to just delete this and this and this. And then if I take my new edge here, so there, just going to change to select mode, that's hotkey Q if you're using default hotkeys. Then if I press hotkey W to go to move, press shift, drag it down like that, then hotkey R, I can just scale it in on the Z axis, and that will flatten it down a sheet. Now all I have to do is just move this down just to that point, you see. And the reason it's that point is basically I want where these are meeting up. Okay, now it won't be exact, but if I was to get a vertex mode at the moment and press Control A and then press the weld settings button, just increase this a teeny weeny bit there. Okay, so let's fix that. And now if I just grab this vert, you see we have just one piece, which is what I wanted. Now what I'm going to do next is go in here, and I'm constantly looking at my reference. Okay, so if you have some sort of physical reference, use that. If you have the references that I'll supply you, use those. Just whatever references you can, though, keep them in front of you. They're massively important. Okay, so now I have that stepped piece there, and I'm going to go for a swift loop just here. Then I'm going to go for one here. Don't worry, it'll make sense, I promise you. Just looking at my shapes again, and I think I'm going to go for one about here and about here. Now, only do it freehand if you're really confident you can get the edges kind of equal, okay? If you're not sure, then, you know, spend some time until you do. Just a bit more there. Okay, because I'm not going for precision. I've said this before, I've said this in myriad tutorials. We aren't making a real robot, okay? Depressing as it may sound to some of you dudes, we're really not. Now, I am going to put another swift loop in here, because I want to make a panel. Kind of a separated area, okay? Now, what I'm going to do, is I'm going to go around this bit. And it's important for me to get this right, because making this panel work is actually a lot more difficult than it seems. Now there's a couple of ways we can do this. I can either do the slightly more complicated step of actually cutting this piece here out, or I can use an edge extrude like this. I'll just bring this in. Now I'm just going to bring my edge down like that. Okay, so that creates this rather handy little gap here for me. Now the thing is, I've got to be really careful because I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to kind of have any problems if it comes to chamfering, turbo smoothing and things like that. So I'm being as careful as I can. Now inside this, I'm going to create a handy little chamfer. Now the first thing it's going to do is just come straight out because the chamfer is going to be too large. So I'm going to reduce the chamfer until it isn't. Like that, okay? Now this is the chamfer type here, so you've got standard, or you've got a quad. Okay, I'm just going to go with the standard for the time being. We've also got kind of how many edges we're going to create. Only need one at the moment. And then down here, we can change this to smooth entire object or smooth the chamfers only and things like that. We're just going to keep everything kind of the way it is though, and click tick. Okay, and now I need to go around the edge a little bit more, so I'm just going to go around all this and just get these edges. Now sometimes this can take a while to do, okay? It's just one of those things. However, I like to start off as I mean to go on. So if you don't like selecting millions of edges, then you've probably chosen the wrong goddamn hobby or career, depending on, you know, how seriously you want to take this. P.S. if you're aiming for a career in 3D, I don't know. I don't even know what to suggest to people who are looking to go do a career in 3D now. I mean, I know so many people who like 3D and doing it as a career. Then I know so many people who are just ready to, like, you know, immolate themselves in an accident rather than have to do it anymore. I noticed that people who kind of get into 3D finally for a living don't often do it for fun, although a lot of the time that tends to be the people who are kind of working the god-awful desk jobs where you have to spend most of your life, you know, creating things like, I don't know, you know, crates, repeatedly making like bottles and stuff like that, you know, just awful jobs. Anyway, I'm not trying to put you off if you do want to be a 3D artist, just go for it, please. You know, it's fun, but just be careful where you pick to work. That's all I'm going to say. Right, chamfering, and I'm going to bring this chamfer right down again. There we go, and just click tick, and then pull back. And now, if I just click out of this and hit F4, you can see that we have our edge there and stuff. Now, I'm going to hit F4 and just check that we don't have any errors, because I've got some interesting little broken polygons trying to rear their foul little heads here, and I'll not be having any of that nonsense, if you know what I mean. Okay, now that seems good. Right, now down here I need to make some kind of spiked parts as well, so I'm going to go to Swift Loop, and I don't need many, I kind of need one at the back here, so I'm just going to go like this, really. However, you notice I've made 3, by the way. I don't know where the third one's gone. However, I was going to put more on the front and stuff, but to be honest, I can over detail this some more once I've built the rest of it, I think. So I shall see. Right, so I've got one here and one here at the moment. So what I'm going to do, if you'll be so kind, is I'm going to delete some bits there, for example, and then delete some bits there as well, and then I will select this piece here and this piece here, and then just pull them up like that. There we go. Now, something I'm going to have to do then, if I go to my left viewport first, certainly, is I need to get a swift loop or a cut of some kind going across there. Now, it's not going to let me, you know, it's a swift loop. No, it's going no, I don't want to do that. That's okay. If I select these and go here to my slice plane tool, and then I'm going to bring my slice plane tool down so that it's completely on that edge there, and I'm just going to click slice. Why are you doing that, Chris? Well, I shall show you. Okay, now I'm going to come out, have a quick look at this, make sure everything's going the way it should. And the reason I've done that is because I can now basically marry up these polygons to here and here and here and here and here and here. Okay, so I'm not going to have any problems basically doing that, and I will still have a nice quad. So just to demonstrate, if I bridge, and hang on a second, there we go, bridge tool, lovely. So I can bridge from there up to there, come round. Now the angle on this one is a little bit Pete-tong, to be honest. So if I bridge from here up to here, it still works, but it's not a great angle. However, still counts. As Lonely Island once famously said. And the good thing is that that's a nice little quad in there. So if you're trying to keep quads, then this is a fun little way to do it. Okay, and just click cap. Right, so with those there, I can now look around the front, where I'm also supposed to be having some rather nice spiky little moments. Now at the moment I'm going to use this and this, and these two are not straight, so I'm just going to use the x-axis just to straighten them out, like so. Okay, and now I'm going to chamfer them probably nice and wide. So if I just do that, now you'll notice one of the problems there is we get that. So a good option for that could also be that if I was to just make a second cut near to it and move this one along first. So it's entirely up to you kind of which way you want to do this. For me, nah, I'm not going to do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this, this, this and this and its little friends. Now there are easy ways of doing it. I could just literally use geometry on top of geometry and that would also do the job, but I'm not about to do it that way because I just don't feel like it. Now I'm going to chamfer this nice and wide. There we go, to make our two triangles at the front. And then I'm going to select these two edges here and here. and here, and here, and just use the connect tool. See? That gives us those two. Now, if I select that one and that one, use my move tool and just drag them up like that. Okay, so they're just round about there. And again, if I want to, I can put a cut straight through these. Just having a few extra polygons will make my job a teeny bit easier. There we go. And now I can start rebuilding the inside of this using the bridge tool. So I can go up to there and to there, and then this can go to there and there. You will notice, by the way, we are way away from the land of quads. However, we can make a quad easy enough, so demonstrate how, just in case you need to know, because I'm nice and I love you. Love, love, love. Oh no. Starfish loves you. I love you. There we go. Now, if I just click this and do a ring and do a connect, it should have came all the way over to there. It has. Marvellous. And then if I do another one here, here, and do a connect, did it too. Yay. Okay. So the good thing is I can now go into here, and here, and here, and here, do caps, and they're all quads. See how easy that was? Ooh, not difficult. Okay. Now, if I come down here and start filling in these spaces as well, one, two, again 3, 4. And I hope you weren't expecting an easy kind of run back into doing 3D again, because I don't do easy. I do awesome, but I don't do easy. Well, I do easy as well. Let's put it this way, if you can't do this after watching this tutorial set, watch it again, and then do it, because you'll be able to. I bet you a delicious Greg's mince pie, in fact, that you can do it. Cap. Okay, now they're not quads, are they? But you know how to make them quads if you want to. It is merely optional. But if you want shiny, shiny quads, there's one. Oh, they're all quads. Yes, they are. There we go. There's another one. Ooh, are they quads? Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Take this one and this one out, and then I take this one and this one out, and grab here and here, and do this. Yeah, they're quads. Right then, have a look at this shape and see how I'm doing so far. Feeling pretty good about this shape, to be honest, because it's a nice shape, that's why. Now, the underside of this doesn't appear to have any exciting stuff going on that I've seen so far, so that's good. If I go into my Swifty loop, I can start looking at perhaps knocking a piece out of this. So let's see, if I'm going to knock a piece out of this, I think I'm going to take this entire section down here. Now then, I'm seeing some nasty overlaps, by the way, because of the way that this works and what I said about that. Now, if you don't want nasty overlaps and you don't care about quads, by the way, a lot of people don't give two monkeys knobs about quads, so then just take that out. Okay, and take that out, rather than straightening this all up and making it an immaculate kind of Renaissance job. And then just Control A with that selected and hit cap, and oh, that also works. Who would have thought such a thing? Well, me, never mind. Now, I want to make a Swift loop, so I'm going to put one just here. Then I'm going to have one to about here. Actually, I don't even need to do that because I'm not making quads, am I? Right, now I am going to select some polygons. Press G to get rid of my grid, because I very rarely need my grid, to be honest. There we go. Now, if I was turbo smoothing this, I would be being considerably more careful. But I'm not. I don't give a damn, so read that as you will. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this bit here, all the way along the top. And I like to have a quick scout to make sure I've not selected anything I shouldn't. And then I'm going to do 3 back. 1, you may notice I'm not quite going all the way back. 2, oh, he's still not going all the way back. What's he doing? 3, that's right, I'm living life to the max. Reason being, rather than welding these, this will give us a chance to use target welds. So if I click target weld now, 1, 2, 3, pull back out. And you can do it again, which I find bizarrely satisfying, to be honest. It's one of those nice things where it's like, oh, that worked nicely, didn't it? Yes, it did. Okay, and let's have a look. I am going to do some brodging. It's a bit like bridging. So if I was to take this edge here, and its 2 friends, and then this edge here and its 2 friends, and click bridge. Magic. No, not really. Never mind. Now, if I go down through here to here and do 2 connects, tick, and then do a cut from here to there and here to there. Right, now I'm going to grab these verts, and you'll see they're not closed. Oh no. So we can close those. We just mark E grab them and do a weld. 512 becomes 510. That's right, it does. And then at the top here, I can then grab this bit here and bridge them. There we go, and that shuts that part at the back up. And then if I just select them, the polygons, if you notice things have moved, always Control Z. If you think something's moved, even Control Z, by the way. Okay, don't be shy about Control Z. It will save your balls. There will come a point in this tutorial where I will demonstrate how I clean up after making a mistake. I'm not using Control Z, so seriously, use Control Z. Okay, so now we can see some of the fun things we've done in this. Okay, and we're only 22 minutes in, and we've nearly created some of the toe. Hit F4 so you can see what we're doing. Now you can see the edges up here look a lot more satisfying than the edges down here, and there is a reason for that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spend a moment or two selecting all these edges to make them look prettier. So if I select these 2, and these 2, and these ones here. Now I've got normal select on rather than select and move. Okay, now you can also use some of the witchery and witchcraft that is the select by angle tool. However, select by angle tool will only work in one of those rare instances where you manage to get everything just completely spot on, so be very wary. Okay, just going around, and I'm double clicking in that hope that this will select the parts I need rather than the parts I don't need. Okay, so I'm going for all major angles. And I'm quite colourblind. Okay, now if you've watched any other 3D Palace tutorials, you'll probably know that. So I tend to be quite careful to make sure that I've selected the bits that I really need. I'm just double clicking as I go along. And you maybe think to yourself, well, why are you doing this? Well, it's simple. There's no depth to any of these edges at the minute. Okay, this is why we use subdivision a lot of the time as well, because basically in 3D our edges are infinite, and until we do this kind of tidying up with them, they stay infinite, which means that we zoom in and they've got this kind of infinite level of sharpness going on. And we don't want this infinite level of sharpness. What we want really is a slightly softened edge to our model. So that is why we go all the way around it, selecting all these damned edges. Okay, so think of it as you're just basically selecting all the ones that seem important. All the things that are 90 degrees you definitely want to select. No ifs, no buts, nothing. Okay, you want those. Anything over 90 degrees you certainly want as well. So things like that and that one there, which is its corresponding charm. So we're going to go all the way around, and this we want. Okay, so be very careful that you don't miss anything, because the thing is, and if you're not sure, just put in a selection set, just call it temp 1 or something. Okay, that way you can always come back to this selection if you accidentally select out or don't realise and you've done something. And if you're still not sure, create yourself a workbench copy. Now, having looked through this and thinking, yeah, it looks kind of right. So now, hit F4 so I don't have to look at my model. And look, there's a piece there. And what was saying we needed these ones? Okay, now, if I go to my chamfer tool, just here, and hang on a second, that edge selected, it is not, see? So, just constantly roaming around my bloody model, making sure I get everything that I need, because we want to get this right now. Don't want to get it right later, we want to get it right now. There we go. Okay, hit F4 again, and this way we'll only see what we've selected. Look, there's another one. See? Just there. Okay, that's selected now. Now then, what about that? There we are. Okay, just going around it. See, there's one. And there. It's always worth taking the extra couple of minutes. I know it's boring as shit, quite frankly. However, there is no make 3D button. People ask me this all the time. Oh, is there not an easy way to do it? Well, yeah, there's an easy way to do it. But what the hell would you want to? What's the point of being an artist? Okay, so, chamfered. Oh, it's broken my model. Of course it has, don't be silly. Bring this down though, just a little bit. To say about there. We don't need a lot. And roam around our model now, just checking it out. You see there? There. Not you. So I'll get in. You see what it's done is it's kind of smoothing the corners a little bit for us. It's making it much better because the light will now hit these corners a lot more pleasingly, to be honest. I'm going to change this down to 0.15 as well, so we don't need that big one. 0.15 is going to be more than enough for the minute, depending on the scale of your own model, obviously. Okay, that is looking okay. So I then just click the tick button, and if I want to I can change the smooth threshold, have them open if I really want, I suppose. Change the edge tension, blah 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 blah. Click, there we go. Okay, now scratching my eyeball here. Okay, if I just have a look at that, that's looking okay to me. Now, I've got a couple of rounded pieces I need to place on this. Well, how are you going to do that, you may ask? Well, nobody does, but you know, you might. Well, let me just have a quick look. Okay, there's a couple of ways we can do this. We can go straight into using the placement tool if we want, or we can put these in manually. Now, these ones, I think... yeah, I'll put these in manually, just for the... no, I won't, bugger it. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a cylinder, and it's going to be an 18-sided cylinder with one height segment. And I'm going to create it here, but I'm going to create it a little bit too big. And pull it down rather than up. Right-click it, convert it to an editable poly. Now I'm going to call it something like Detail Bolt 1. Okay. Also, I haven't named this yet, we should probably call it Toe 1. Okay, so on the left there you can now see we have two objects. Isn't that good? Now over here where this one is, I'm going to take this polygon, click Control, hold Control rather, click I, hit delete. Now I just have this shape here. And I'm going to use this to create, well, it's not really a bolt in my opinion, it's kind of a rounded over nut thing. Okay, so one rounded over nut thing it is. Now if you watch the previous tutorials, you know about bevels, zero length bevels and all that kind of thing. I know it was only a couple of minutes long, but we're going to do it anyway. So we're going to do a zero length bevel, so I can use it as an inset. If you're not comfortable with that, do an inset. I'm going to bring this in just a little bit. Then I'm going to bring a 0 length bevel in again, like that. And then I'm going to start coming up once, twice, 3 times. And it takes a little bit of practice to do this, because what you have to do is reduce the amount of extruding you're doing while you're beveling to make this kind of curved shape here, like that. Okay, so now I have this shape here. Okay, I can place it. So, making sure that this is still an editable poly, I can go over here to my object paint tool that Autodesk were kind enough to take my kindly advice on one time, with no warning. I'm going to paint on object surfaces under my mouse. Object. The object to be painted onto the scene with paint. So if I click that, get my list, pick this. There we go. So that's what I'm going to use. And now I can go straight into painting and just paint it on one here and one here. Now, can you spot the error? No, because we're stupid. Okay, well, let's just reduce the scale a little bit. There. Oh wow, that's amazing. How did that work? It's amazing, isn't it? Okay, now close that. And stop placing these everywhere, because quite frankly you can, and you probably don't want to. Now these two are in the right place in my opinion. However, they're not a part of the model, they're just resting on top of it, and we're not seeing it in its full glory. So if I select these 4 now, like that, and delete them, select this and use the attach tool and just attach that one and that one. There we go. Now with these attached, I can do something pretty darn clever. If you've not seen me do this before, it's one of those things I quite enjoy, so I'm just going to bridge from there to there, and I'm going to bridge from there to there. Then I'm going to select these borders, there and there, click cap. Now I want to quickly go in here and do some chamfering, so if I just select this, double click it, hold down control and double click this, and hold down control and double click this, I can go straight into my chamfer tool, click tick because it'll pick up the settings from the last one. Do it again here. Remember, if your chamfer doesn't seem right, just go back and fix it, make it smaller. Okay, so chamfer, and click tick. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a smooth modifier to my model. Just a simple one, just to kind of fix it up a little bit, because there's going to be a lot of jaggies and weirdness going on. We've got smooth, auto smooth, and change this to about 24.5. Right click, convert to editable poly, hit F4. There we go. Now we have these two rather fun, chunky little buttony fellows like sticking out there. Who knows what they do? Could be anything. Right, that, what I can do is just select my detail bolt here, and I can just hide it if I want to, or do anything else I want to. So I'm just going to right click and hide selection. We're not far enough into the model, in my opinion, to start using layers yet. It seems a bit redundant, doesn't it? Right, now inside here we have a piece. I don't know what it does, could be anything. And to be honest, I can't even see it that well because it's teeny whiny. So what I'm going to do, hit F4 again, yes again, and I'm going to just look at this shape and work out whether or not I'll be able to do this first. So top view zoom, I want to make sure these edges are straight. They are. Okay, so I'm going to make a cylinder, and I'm going to use auto grid. Remember my one height segment, 18 sides, and I'm going to pull it out from here straight across and stop. Right, now it's already gone through and intersected on the other side. That's fine, because I'm going to bring down the height now until it doesn't. There we go, like that. Right click, convert to editable polygon. I'm going to select all the polygons in the middle, press Control and I, and hit delete, and that gets rid of the two ends. Quite important in my book. Now I can bring this back a bit, and I can do any scaling that I think might be necessary before we even start. So maybe scale them up like that. Now this is a non-uniform scale because I'm only scaling it on two sides. So what I'm going to do is go over here to reset X form in my tools menu, reset selected, right click, convert to, and do editable poly again. Why? Because otherwise, if and when we decide to animate this, it will go terribly wrong. And if you look, it's already got a bit peaked on anyway. It was wonky. You see, I was thinking to myself, I thought it was straight, but it wasn't. And that's an easy goddamn mistake. So let's do it a different way instead. Cylinder. Build it here. Straight up. Now I want it to go into the side of that, so right click. Once it's an editable poly, and you'll notice, oh well, 90 degrees isn't easy. Press A for angle snap, and now it is 90 degrees. Top viewport, and I'm going to move this into the right position, which is about there-ish. Jump back in perspective. It's underneath the model at the moment, so just bring it up. And it is too big, so I shall work on that in just a moment. Let me see, scaling it down. Someone's been putting steam on my computer and I don't know why. I suspect one of my children has been using it. Okay, now utilities, reset X form, reset selected, right click, convert to editable poly. Remember what I mean, remember to do that, it's really important. Okay, now I am going to move this until it vanishes into there. Then I'm going to get this, go straight down into there. Now, because we have a requirement for this part here to be visible, you see it's not actually visible in the plastic model, but it's not surprising really. But on this one I kind of want it to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a connect and a chamfer. Chamfer that wide, chamfer that wide again. I'm going to go in here and get these, and I'm going to drag these out a bit like that, so it makes it nice and wide. We get this nice kind of barrel piece going on here. Then change this and just select by these edges and do a connect, and then a chamfer again to make these a bit wider, like that. Now, because there's no piece going underneath this, I'm going to have to probably use guesswork as to how I should have it, which is always a worrying thing to do, because I can either have it kind of embedded into this, which seems a little bit messy, or have it come underneath this into something. So let's have a look at our shape here. I'm just going to isolate it for a second. There we go, just so I can kind of see what I'm doing. And I want to be able to come into here, so I am going to select this and this. Right, that really does do it. Whoever put steam on this machine is going to get telling off. There we go. Right, and with that and that selected, problem is of course that an artist's workstation is the most powerful computer in the house, so I come down to find all sorts of things installed on my machine. Okay, connect, like so, and then I'm going to chamfer these wide, whee, like that. Then I'm going to connect again, here and here. There we go, and do another connect. Then take away that bit. Use this one instead. And I'm going to do a hinge from edge, but I'm going to do an inverse hinge from edge. So pick hinge. Whee, there we go. And I'm going to give it 9 sides and minus 180. And click tick. Then hit delete. There we go. That will get rid of any extra parts that we don't need. Now I can just weld it together by doing a select by vertex, Control A, hit the weld button, and as you see it's cleaned up a lot of stuff we didn't need. Woohoo! Okay, now with that shut, all that I'm going to need to do is do a little bit of edge chamfering here and here. Not that much chamfering. I think it was 0.15 actually, thank you. Click tick. Okay, and now if I end isolate, you can see that kind of fits inside there quite nicely. And then if I go across to here and grab these parts And this could be a nice piece actually to use a little bit of turbo smooth on anyway, so that could be ideal. We shall see. I shall take these bits here and do an extrude by local normal. Bring that down just a teeny bit like that. Click tick, there we are. And then at the back here, where these are, I shall extrude these by 0. Why would you do that? Well, if I extrude these by 0, it means I can then pull them straight out, like that. There we go. And have them intersect this piece of wall like that. Okay, and this is the poly on poly technique that I'm doing now. So sometimes I'll marry polygons into each other, other times I'll have them sitting on top of each other so they look like a separate piece of machinery, and it's really all down to what you're trying to accomplish with that. Now, if I was to do a turbo smooth or even an open subdivision on this, you'll see that it suddenly becomes a much smoother looking piece, right? So I shall pin that to the top of the stack, come back here, show end result. And if I go around here, I can now start deleting bits like that. So those two end polygons being done mean this looks a little bit better already. Now, if I was to go to my modeling tab, Swift Loop, and I can just start putting some edges in. And these edges, in the same way that I was kind of manually doing my chamfers, remember? This way I don't have to manually do chamfers. However, we need loops in order for it to work. It's kind of important. So, because this piece wasn't modified particularly, we get quite a lot of straight edges still. So I shall demonstrate when I put this top part here on. One there, one there, and then I can put one there, and one there, like that. See? So it gives us a much nicer looking shape. Then I can just come out, right click, convert to editable polygon. Okay, and we get that. Right, so that's a pretty good starting point, I think, for our toe so far anyway. However, why stop there, I suppose? We have these pieces coming through here on the side of the toe, and we don't have any side detail coming onto the toe, so let's go for a cylinder, and I'm just going to drag it out from here and check it. Now if you look, the cylinder is uneven. I don't like that, that makes me sad. So what I'm going to do instead is go back to this piece, and I'm going to cap the two ends, Control A, sorry, Control A, select all, and then cap. Hit F3 so I can see through my model. I'm going to select that one and that one. Hit F3 again, and now I can go into extrude. And extruding by group, I can go here until it just comes through like that. As soon as it's through, I'm going to click tick, and then I can go into bevel like this. Give myself a nice 0 length bevel. Come straight out, and I'm going to go out like that, and across, in. Give myself a 0 length bevel. Come in a little bit so I don't have to chamfer it later. So I've already chamfered this model, I don't want to chamfer it again. And all I'm doing is I'm manually just building little chamfers as I go along. I'll do a little one there. So all it is a teeny bevel out. And then I can either do a curve over it like I did before, or something else like that if I want to, just depending on how you feel. So I think I'll just keep it to there. Okay, it gives it a nice shape like that. And then what I could also do if I wanted to is maybe select every second one of these. Like this. And again, I'm aware you can do pattern selections. I just choose not to. I like doing things this way. If you prefer doing things a faster way, then you don't need to tell me there's a faster way. A lot of the time I am aware of it. It's just This is the way I like to work. Sometimes I do things because it seems a more precise way of doing it. Other times I do it because of sheer goddamn bloody mindedness, you know? It's the way I am. By the way, do you have a beard? I have a beard. I love my beard. Just thought I'd throw that out there. It gives me something to chat about whilst I'm selecting these things. And yes, I can talk a lot. That's why I get asked to do talks. Right, bevel. Okay, and that looks okay. So I can now grow that if I wanted to. And then do a like controls select by edge. And I could do just a little chamfer perhaps. So 0.15 again. I could even make it like a quad chamfer, I suppose. Where's the quad chamfer box? There we are, quad chamfer, like that. Yeah, 4. See, gives us that nice shape there and there. Such a pretty shape, that one. Okay, I don't even need to right click convert to editable poly either. So that's good. My only concern is that I think these parts may be a little bit big, but I can reduce them in size fairly easily if I need to, so I could just use the grow tool. Hit F3, grow, 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 and then shrink again. Because once it makes a solid like that, it won't actually unselect it again. And then I can make it smaller or bigger or anything else I like. See? There we go. Still fits. Still a part of that piece there, and it lines up, which means your eye will see it line up and will go, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's cool. Now, if there's anything else you want to do with this while we're down here, we can. So, for example, if you look at this shape and think, oh, that might look better if it had some sort of a like little maintenance hatch type thing in it, you know, for presumably when whoever it is that keeps this thing, you know, working decides to do something. So we can just grab that. Don't worry about keeping it nice and straight because we don't have to. And then this one. And then I can bring this down a bit. Whee, like that. And I could even make it an uneven shape if I wanted to. Look. Wow. How does he do it? Okay, so I've got that shape there. And then I can do a quick, let me see, extrude and extrude it in. Reduce the length of the extrude. Reduce the height of the extrude because that was a teeny weeny bit high, to be honest. There we go. And just click tick. And what I could also do, if I want to make my job a little bit easier, is just go grow. And then shrink. Okay, and then just deselect these ones. And now that's selected everything inside of this, and I can just chamfer it. So if I came in at 0.075 perhaps, just click tick, like that. Okay, and that would give us that shape there, which is a nice shape, incidentally. But, you know, well, what does it do? Because it's not actually connected to anything, is it? Well, true. So you could build some hinges over the top of it as well if you really wanted to. It's just down to, you know, how much effort do you want to go into with this? If you want to, you know, perhaps build a little piece like that. Right click, convert to editable poly. Select here, click grow. Control I, delete. And then, you know, select all these. And then do a chamfer. And reduce the chamfer amount to 0.075, just like the other one. Just click tick, and there. You get a box chamfer, in fact. Always looks nice with the quad chamfer. There we go. Right, so if I put that there, and then bring this down to there, like that, and just click OK. And now if I was to go attach, and attach that, and that, and that, we now have a single object. like so, and we have these rather natty little things going on inside there. Now, unhide all. Seems a shame not to use this again then, doesn't it? Which we can, incidentally. So if I go into my object paint, you'll notice the detail bolt is still there, so I can just start painting it straight on if I wanted to. So I'll go to my object list, and I'm going to paint on this using that, and I'm going to reduce the scale of it rather heftily, and I'm also going to stop picking the wrong thing to paint on it with. I seem to be painting toes on my toes. Why? I'm going to use this. That's what I want to use. Yeah, it's determined. I'll give it that. And I want to paint on, should be a selected object. There we go. Yeah, it's, why are you doing this to me? This isn't impressing anybody. It's supposed to be painting the detail bolt. I'm going to start giving in a minute. Maybe go and have a sleep. Maybe I'm tired. No, got it working at last. There we go. So now I can go here. Yeah, that'll do. So there and there, like that. Hit F4, and sudden fear that I wasn't actually recording anything kicked in for a moment, which was terrifying. Okay, now over here I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to attach both these. I'm only deleting one at the moment. You maybe think to yourself, well, why are you doing that? There's a reason, I promise you. Now getting nice and close to this fellow, and there and bridge. Select all this and cap. Okay, now I just have to delete this section, you see. I don't have to mess around cutting new sections or worrying about bent polygons or any of that mad nonsense that might happen. So again, here to here, bridge, select all that bit and cap. There we go, look at that. Ooh, it works. Okay, hit F4, and now you can see that we have this rather nice detail object going on. I'm going to apply a smooth modifier to it, and auto smooth it on 24.5 again. Right click, convert to editable poly, take this, right click and hide selection. Bye bye. There we go. Right, so we have so far created this bit, and you know, looks okay. I'm happy with it. The parts that need to be smooth are smooth. It's got detail where it needs detail, including bits where it's got detail that it probably doesn't even need. And we're in a good position to start making the toe connectors next, which is what will be made next. So, I hope you've enjoyed this, your first modelling section. It certainly has kept you busy, I would imagine. What you need to do, if you're following along, is, if you've got two screens, put this on your other screen, and do a bit and pause, do a bit and pause, do a bit and pause. Or, watch it through, and then have a crack at it yourself. You'll pick up skills. By the time it gets halfway through the tutorial, hopefully you'll just be listening to it for the commentary at this point, whilst you're modelling along. But do finish the project, it's important. Okay, so take it easy. If you've got a beard, don't forget to keep that mother, like, you know, covered in lovely oils and stuff. And I will see you in the next bit. Take a big kiss to bed from me. Bye bye.